Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about romance books. And romance is my most read genre, but it's the genre that I am least likely to give out of 5 star for. So it's really hard to find good romance. So today I'm going to talk about romance books that don't suck. So all of these books have space, but we're going to talk about the books that have the least amount with like 1 or 2 scenes. And then the second half of the video will be the full-on spicy books. So with this first group of books, if you don't like spice, feel free to skim over the spice scenes in the book. So I'm gonna start out with Normal People. Now this isn't a romance book, technically, but it's one of my favorite books, so I'm not gonna miss the opportunity to talk about it. So what I'm gonna say is controversial. I watched the TV show first, then read the book, and that's what I recommend. It just helps you love the characters and it helps you visualize everything a lot better. The show is excellent. The only reason I wouldn't recommend the show is if you don't like spice or nudity, the show is not for you, so don't watch the show. Otherwise, watch the show first and then you'll just fly through. Especially if you haven't read Ali Rooney before, definitely watch the show first. People struggle because this book doesn't have much or any quotation marks, but you'll be fine. This book isn't too long. You trust me, you won't struggle with this. But I just have to I have to consider it a romance because it's so focused on the main couple. I know it's technically not. In that these plots in this book really develop the characters like holistically, and it's not just focused on the romance like the rest of these books are. But this is one of my favorite books of all time. So I had to talk about it. It's basically about, high schoolers who, I don't know what to spoil, who they just cannot get it together and figure out how to be official. And during their lives, they just keep meeting each other and growing apart and growing back together again. So this is one of my favorite books of all time. I had to talk about it. Very different from the rest of this list. Next book I'm going to talk about is Daisy Hates. I didn't like Magnolia Parks, but I like the Daisy Hates side of things. So if you read Magnolia Parks and didn't like it, Daisy Hates is better, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the next Daisy Hates book even more than this one. So we're going to continue on with the series and see what happens. But this is how do I explain it? It's very romance focused, but you can see there's guns on the front of the book. I think I can tell you Daisy is in an art crime family, and it just follows the ups and downs of her relationships and how people connected to her family's life of crime come into her life. But yeah, Tessa Hastings' writing is very highly metaphorical. So I really enjoyed that. It has a lot of text messages, so it can be pretty light and like pretty fast read in some areas of the book. But yeah, this is way better than Magnolia Parks. It did have some repetitive conflicts in it, but it was fine. It wasn't as repetitive as Magnolia Parks. But yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but I just want to say, if you're interested in Magnolia Parks, read Magnolia Parks and soldier on to, I think, the better part of the series, which is Daisy Hates. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. Okay, this is considered literary fiction, but the whole book is focused on, the majority of the book is focused on the romance. So I have to call it a romance. Sorry. I'm pretty sure there's no spice in this one. So it's written in prose. It's written in second person you, which, you know, the prose in that part was cool, but it also kind of took away from the book a bit, just a bit. And there's some chapters that were vague and I couldn't tell what was happening. So for those reasons, I couldn't give it 5 stars. But, so yeah, it's just my brain, like, couldn't handle it. But it's beautifully written. Perfect example of the Black experience. If you're Black, you will relate, even if you're not Black British. I could relate to a lot. Also, I couldn't give it 5 stars because there are a lot of references to, like, UK and Ireland that I just went over my head. So I couldn't give it 5 stars because there are a lot of references I didn't know. But overall, I view it as a romance because it's focused on relationship. Beautifully developed, beautiful writing. So if you like a shorter story that reads like poetry, that's for you, especially if you're Black. I think you will relate to the main character's experience in the book, especially if you're a Black person who went to school at a PWI like I did. You'll definitely relate. So the next book is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This was another 4 star. These aren't in order of star ratings. But this book, for me, like, it started off strong. Like, the beginning is really strong. And the rest of the book was good, but it wasn't, I didn't love it as much as the beginning. So this is about a one-night stand that results in pregnancy. And so it sounds spicy, but I think there's only, like, spice at the beginning. There might be another spice scene, but don't worry about that. The spice was well written, but by the way, I must say. But basically, it's 2 people who they're acquaintances, I believe, and they have to figure out how to get ready to co-parent together on short notice. And so we also have discussions about disabilities because the female main character is different limbed in her hand, and the male lead character doesn't have his leg. So it's great discussions about disabilities and how especially the female main character comes to terms with how her body is different. And so it's a lot of good discussions about that, and it really centers people with disabilities in the center of the story. So it was really good. I have to say, I think what I didn't like about the book is that they kind of made unexpected pregnancy seem a little too easy. If they didn't have many issues in my eyes with the sudden pregnancy, and if there was an issue that a couple encountered during the pregnancy, it kind of just, like, went away very quickly. So I think it kind of oversimplified, like, how difficult it can be for accidental pregnancy. I haven't gone through that, but I feel like the book kind of made it a little unrealistically easy, in my opinion. So the next book is The Ex-Vows. Who wrote that? By Jessica Joyce. This is a second chance romance. I didn't know why people hated second chance romance until I read a second chance romance where the female lead is with she has a boyfriend and she starts reconnecting with her ex at the same time. And that gave me like weird cheating vibes. So yeah, I don't like that. So I get why some people don't like second chance romance. But in the X-Files, thankfully, both of the main characters are single, so we're good there. So it's really fun. A lot of this is a wedding romance for the main character's friend, and it's a little cheesy in like a lot of wedding romance books can be, but it worked out for me. So basically, the two main characters are running around and they're trying to get everything settled for this cursed wedding, and unfortunate things just keep happening and keep popping up as they're trying to prepare for this wedding. So that's with hijinks and all of that. So it's a great reconnection. Second Chance is really great when, you know, the characters already know each other so well, and that's what made me really like the book. So yeah, really well-rounded book, and the space was very realistic. It wasn't cheesy or cringy, so it was really, the space was very excellent. So next is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This would be one of my top books by Ali Hazelwood. What I had to talk about what's good about her books in general. They actually discuss the science that the main characters are involved in her books. A lot of authors write a occupation for their characters, but they never have their characters like interested in it or doing their occupation. So you get to see what the main character Elsie is striving for, and she's trying to get a job, which is really relatable. So you're just like rooting for her the whole time, and you just see this really strong connection with Jack Groh. They have great chemistry, and I don't know, there's like, I could like explain the whole plot in which Elsie is struggling financially as an academic, which is a big theme Ali Hazelwood likes to talk about. So she pretends to be girlfriends for pay, and so she pretends to be the girlfriend of the male love interest brother. So that's kind of like a smaller storyline in the book, so that doesn't really like continue throughout the entire book. But it's just one of the tropes thrown in there. I don't like fake dating, so you know. But anyway, it was a fun book. It had great development of the characters, family drama and family dynamics, and so Ali Hazelwood makes great, likable, well-rounded characters. So the next book, it is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. This has a lot of mixed reviews. It has a dicey premise in which it's a romance between a girl and the guy who accidentally hit her sister and killed her with his car. So yeah, it's a tough sell. But yeah, this isn't gonna be for everyone, but I don't know. I really liked it. I think it had heart, it had depth, it had humor, and it also had like medium space. How to End a Love Story has the begging, he begs on his knees trope, which is like one of my favorite micro tropes, by the way. And so I really loved the tropes in it. They're like my favorite tropes. You know, you shouldn't read for tropes, but they help you figure out what you like. So basically, it has the unpopular girl in school and the popular guy in school. They never got together while they're in high school, but they end up working together on a project. They're working together on a TV adaptation. So I love a workplace romance, and I like the trope where it's the unpopular girl in high school like ends up with the popular guy, you know, later on. So kind of second chance in a way. Not really, but So yeah, the tropes worked for me. The characters had personality. A lot of romance books, they give their males no personality, which is, it's like in almost every romance. It's like a huge problem with the romance genre. But don't fear, these men on this list, they have personalities. Like, anyway, that's a huge problem in the genre. So yeah, very distinct, very different personalities. So yeah, they're kind of enemies. So I guess you could say this is kind of enemies with benefits. So yeah, it's a lot of tropes happening, but they're ones that I like. So they have, while they're figuring out their attraction for each other, they are trying to work through the trauma of the main character losing her sister, and the male lead Grant, his trauma for accidentally hitting her with his car. It's not super dark, despite like how I'm explaining it. So yeah, it is quite a light book, but it's not for everyone. But I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I think it just delivered on developing the characters and the connections, the plot, and the spice was good as well. Next is Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I love music. I played piano, sang, did orchestra, and that helped me really like understand this book. The main characters are in the same orchestral group. I forget the exact term for it. It's not symphony. It's been a while since I read this. These 2 main characters are exploring their musical taste and interests, and they kind of bounce off of each other. I think they have a bit of an enemies to lovers vibe. Out of this list, Xander does have, I think that's his name. His personality is kind of, a show off, conceited sort of guy. But I think over time you like grow to love him. But the best part of this book is seeing the 2 characters bond over music. So that's what really makes this book amazing. The space is good too. It's great tension and chemistry. And it's just like, this is a theme. Like, to make a good romance book, you just need a well-rounded person with interests that are not just the other person. They have personalities, they have depth, and that's what really makes a good romance. Okay, we have one more that's not as spicy as the rest. So I'm going to talk about Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. So this is on the less spicy side, I think. And so this is a great friends to lovers. It is about Aaliyah, and she connects on a friendship level with a bartender who, I think in a nice, selfless way, in my opinion, he sees that she's struggling with the dating scene and like online dating as well. And so the friendship grows as he kind of gives her advice about dating. And I think it's such a good like friends to lovers. The connection was like really friendship. And the physical connection was not front or forefront. And so that's what really worked for it. It was really funny. Yeah, you just love all the characters in this book. And I mean, and we need more Black women centered in books, or we're talking about romance. So romance books, romance movies, romance TV shows. And especially, like for me, I'm tall. So tall, curvy women. Like I was just thinking, like we don't see a lot of like curvy women as like leads in movies and like things like that. So we definitely need more of that. So yeah, I really want to read more of what Danielle Allen has. I know I'll like it. But yeah, if you're interested in banter, the banter is off the charts. So yeah, amazing. So now we're at the spicy section of the video. So if you don't like spice, I don't think these books are going to work out for you, but stay if you want. So I'm going to talk about Lights Out by Navessa Allen. Don't click out the video because I'm specifically recommending the audiobook. The audiobook is 100% a better experience than reading it. I didn't read it, but I can already tell you. The audiobook is excellent. It's the only way the humor can come across perfectly. Like when you read it, it's a dark rom-com. So the humor is like kind of like dark and innocent at the same time, and it only comes across correctly in the audiobook. So I think the audiobook narrator is Jacob Morgan. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. He is excellent. He knocked it out of the park. The female was good as well, but the audiobook makes it a 5-star. So take that from this video. It's about a masked thirst trap TikToker who he knows our main character Allie, a nurse in real life, and he kind of like he does stalk her too. He says to watch over her and keep her safe, but so it is wrong, but like the main character justifies it in a way, in that he is her security service. So yeah, it has a very specific dark humor to it that will only come across in the audiobook. So if you're interested in getting into dark romance, this is a good first dark romance book. So very spicy. Next is a fantasy rom-com, The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. I love the Mead and Mishap trilogy. She's like that. It makes her one of my favorite romance authors ever. Like, this may be pretty much erotica because there's so much spice, but the whole book is excellently written. Her writing is a full sensory experience. Every page she discusses texture, sight, taste, smell. It's so in-depth. The imagery is so clear. She's amazingly talented. So yeah, the highly detailed writing is there. Excellent imagery is there. The fun, fantasy, detailed world is there. The humor is there. The excellent spice is there. So across the board, it's tons across the board. So I had to give it 5 out of 5. So yeah, if a book is really funny, that will definitely make me give it a 5 out of 5. Like Lights Out was very funny. Next is Butcher and Blackbird. I think, I don't know. This is another one I heard the audiobook is really good. I feel like maybe if I read this now, I wouldn't have rated it as highly. This is I think this is my first dark romance. This is also a dark rom-com that can be a bit, the lines and the flirting can be a bit cheesy. But I think kind of the novelty of a serial killer rom-com. Let me know if there's another one. I'm sure there's another one out there. But I haven't read a serial killer rom-com before. So the novelty of that, and I think how well it was carried out, made it work really well. So as I said, in this book we have 2 serial killers who, the book starts out with them competing to see who can kill more serial killers. And I think it starts pretty slow. I think that sort of competition, builds up their relationship. And I think the spice, it takes a while for the spice to come in the book, in my opinion. But when the spice does come, it is very spicy. So keep that in mind, and then read the trigger warnings. But I think I read this in a day, or I read it in I read it really fast. So I loved it. The next is The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. Me and Elle Kennedy, we didn't get along because I read The Deal. It's so misogynistic. Like, more people need to talk about it. Like, now I'm going on a tangent. That book is about a girl who experiences SA, who gets into a relationship with a guy who is pressuring her the whole book. So it's just not very problematic. So I know, why did I pick up the diction wrong? I don't know. But this one is pretty good. It was a 4-star. It's just a fun summer read. It takes place in the summer. What's the girl's name? Diana Dixon. I'm like, she's alliteration in her name. I was like, I thought that was her name. So Diana Dixon, she's a cheerleader, but I think over the summer she's focusing on ballroom dance, so she needs a partner. So her hot hockey neighbor steps in. And so this is so fun. Is that it's just like a lighthearted. I said lighthearted, but it does have some dark elements to it, which I think added depth to the main character, Diana. She's going through something a little scary that I won't talk about, but it's nice to see the male lead, Shane, lift her up and help her do the dance competition and also with everything else going on. So yeah, this is if you want a fun, easy summer romance. It's a little dark, but it's not dark romance. This is for you. Okay, next we have Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. I did not expect this to be as spicy as it was. And by that I mean like how much spice was in it. So yeah, super short book. You can easily knock it out in a day. I really like the audiobook, so I do recommend it. And this is about a destination summer wedding, and our two main characters are friends of people getting married, and you know, they have a fling for a week. So I don't know, it's not much to explain here, but if you're looking for a black romance that is a quick summer read, this is for you. Great characters, great humor, great spice. That's kind of like the key to a good romance. But yeah, this is very romance and spice focused, so just know that going in. Next book is very controversial and very and maybe considered toxic romance, and this is Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. This is an enemies with benefits workplace romance. Twisted Hate, we have, what is the girl's name? It's like Jules. Okay, I remember. Josh and Jules. I think she's a lawyer. She's a party girl, but now she's focused on one thing, passing the attorney's bar exam. So, sorry, Josh is the nurse, and she wants to be a attorney, but they both, like, I think they do volunteer work in the same building or something. Someone correct me in the comments. So it is kind of a workplace romance at the same time. Just the enemies with benefits work so well. They had like such a fiery passion that was so good. The spice was so amazing. But yeah, so it's a lot of like, you know, I hate you, a lot of fighting. So yeah, if you're not into toxic romances, it's not for you. But yeah, I really love the drama and the mess. And so yeah, just go in knowing, I think as long as you go in knowing they're enemies and it's enemies with benefits and it's kind of toxic, I think you'll be fine. I don't know, but people still, you know, don't like that toxic vibe. So, you know, that's why this may be one of the least popular in the series, but it was my favorite and I gave it 5 stars, which is kind of crazy. So the last book, also 5-star, is by one of my favorite romance authors ever, and it's Rosie Donen. So I first read her Shameless, I think that's what it's called, Duology. Those were really good. Then I read what's it called? Do Your Worst. With a really cute cover, but that was very mid. And now I read her latest release called Fan Service. Now, this is one of those books that, like I think How to End a Love Story, is specifically for me. I'm recommending this specifically if you are a Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries girl, even Twilight. I'm not a Twilight girl, but I'm saying if you are a Teen Wolf especially, but also Vampire Diaries girl, this is for you. Like, it's like highly specific, unless you're like, but yeah, if you're already a werewolf girl, you know, this is for you. I feel like that sounds funny, non-werewolf people could like this, but I'm recommending it specifically to us. So yeah, that's what you gotta be. This is also an age gap romance, which they didn't make it weird. Okay, to go into another tangent, I've DNF'd Problematic Summer Romance because every chapter he's like, you're a child and people think I'm your daughter, and like they made it weird. So like, I don't like age gap, but there's a way to do it where you're not every chapter you're not talking about the age gap like in Problematic Summer Romance. So I had to DNF that one. So yeah, this is how you do it age gap. You just have it there and then you don't really talk about it every 2 seconds. So this is about the star of a show that's like comparable to Teen Wolf called The Arcane Files. And the lead star of that show turns into a werewolf. So who does he turn to? The #1 fan of the show for help. And so she helps him while he's like transitioning. He's trying to figure out his powers, his supernatural abilities, and a spicy romance comes along the way. So, you know, if you're the werewolf girl, it's hard to compare this to Bride by Ali Hazelwood because they're like different. Like, I don't know, like they seem kind of the same, but like they're so different. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, to me, Ali Hazelwood tried and failed with a like political system with vampires, humans, and werewolves, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So yeah, it's hard to compare the two, but this is a way better, even though they're very different. This doesn't have that political supernatural world that book does. So yeah, it's hard to compare the two, but they're two spicy werewolf books that read like contemporary romance books, so that's why I'm like comparing them. But yeah, this is 5 stars, one of my favorite books of the year. So yeah, this is written for us Teen Wolf girls, so it's just so good, so funny, chemistry is off the charts, the spice is amazing. So yeah, that is where I will leave you. So yeah, a lot of these are specifically to my taste, but maybe there's something on this list for you. So yeah. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.